And now, another You Can't Comp This episode highlight.
Alrighty, let's get to the meat of tonight's dinner. Luka Doncic, let's get straight to it. You pretty much were trolling me on the last episode that we haven't talked about him, so I was like, that's it. He's going first onto the run sheet this week.
I feel like I was baited into mentioning Luka and having a chuckle.
I don't really feel like I have to bait you to you go hating on Luka. Like, let's keep it real.
We talk about the best in the league and the worst in the league, and then every time you say the worst in the league, I'm kidding. He's not actually one of the worst in the league. He's actually one of the best out there. He just won nothing, really.
Yeah.
Luka's. I've got his 1 year prices. He's like very, very steady with a slight spike around June, which is funny because that was the playoffs, June, July this year. But yeah, the last 3 months he's down 3%. Last 3 months, not much of a change. Last sold price is $1,299. So that $1,200 to $1,300 price point just seems to be, for his silver that is, seems to be, I mean, I didn't want people to get confused. That is his silver, even though the pop counts over 2,000.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. I mean, his silver has the pop count of a lot of people's base cards.
So if you're a relatively new user for the show, the context of Adam's thinly veiled barb there is that the population on this card is quite high. And
I can get the sledgehammer out and show you his base card, which is a
so serious question. So let's just do sort of an education piece around this.
Yeah, let's do
what
it.
do you think is a reasonable pop count for a card to be so that it still remains collectible?
So silver, there's I suppose there's different ages of basketball cards.
Yeah.
Because then there's the tops, for argument's sake, the Kobe tops chrome, not the refractor, and the refractor and the silver prism are like the base and
Yep.
yeah. So I'll bring up the actual pop because I would rather do some fact checking, but I think it's around a five or 600. For the Topps Chrome. That's the base for Kobe Bryant.
So in that case, then, if there's say 600 of them, it's about there's 4 times too many in your head.
Yeah. So let's go Topps Chrome. Oh wait, maybe I was wrong. Oh, that's PSA 9. Pop 838 on the PSA 10 Topps Chrome Kobe.
Sure. So let's call it 3 times.
Right?
Yep.
Last sold price for Kobe for the PSA 10 was $5,450. That said, we're also living in a time where BGS was high, so that pop count's also high at 740.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
The
I think
idea.
for that card and that time, that's the appropriate comp. Yep, definitely.
But the refractor, also known as the silver prism,
yep.
A PSA 10 1996 Topps Chrome refractor, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Last sold for $102,000 because there's 63 of them. Right? It's an incredibly scarce commodity.
Yeah.
So we're talking the silver prism for Luka is 3 times higher than the base for Kobe. So we're in a different scale. Obviously, things are different. There are more parallels. There's an abundance of different types of cards, and
the ultra modern era is completely
the
different.
Kobe rookie. So this is just the one that people most identify and most see. But I'll go back to the Luka thing. The pop count on his base is 20,373.
Yeah.
Right. So the base card, and that's last sold for $176.
Is that PSA 10?
PSA 10 base card
is 20,000.
20,000 pop count. Last sold for $176.50, and over the last 3 months, it's down 14%. So it's not something that's like it's always been high. In fact, the highest this card's got over it was at one period in the last 2 years. So not at the COVID crazy. Was over $300. It's a base card between $200 and $300. But the pop count on it's 20,000. Everyone can get one of these.
Mm-hmm.
The abundance of it is insane.
Yeah, I think that card is fraught with treachery, like as far as I'm concerned, particularly the base. There's silver on that. So, to be honest with you, I really appreciated your insights. But if I can be honest, I was almost trying to set you up then.
I feel like
to get a little bit of a response, because what I was going to say was I almost feel like that Luka card has sort of stepped into rarefied air. So where I'm going with this is like, there's always exceptions to the rules. And I think what you said about the Kobe stuff is 100% correct. But let's talk about the 86 Fleer Jordan card.
Yep.
So PSA, and I'm looking at the total population here. So this is all the different grades. There's 27,000 of that. Then if you look at Beckett, all the total graded cards is 14,000. So roughly we're up to around 30,000 there. SGC, there's another 4,000. So let's just round it up to 35. But still, like fives go for hundreds of dollars, if not thousands in that. Like PSA fives. Do you know what I mean? And no one cares that there's 30,000 of that card. It's just, they want a Jordan rookie and that's that. So
yeah,
I'm almost getting the feeling with this population, with this price point, like at 1,300, that's not really speculation anymore. That's a genuine purchase. Particularly the number of reps we're up to here too,
So hang on, so you're comparing Jordan to Luka?
I'm putting him in the same sentence in the hobby perspective.
Fair. Okay.
But absolutely not in a competitive perspective and achievement perspective. So just to be clear, like...
Yeah, that's cool. So the total pop on Luka's silver is 8,000. And the total pop on the base... Sorry, there's so many different parallels that finding the base again was tricky. 46,000.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it?
That's crazy.
We should definitely shout out to the young man who has generated this data too. So shout out to Ryan at GemRate, who supplies all the back-end data to Card Letter.
Yeah.
I hope you're well, Ryan.
But it's
So I think, okay, so the real question for me is, so the other week we were talking about Tatum. We're using him as like the current comp. His population is in around the 700 mark. Hang on a second. Let me get my numbers right here. His price is around the $700
mark is where Tatum's been sitting and hovering.
Tatum. And what was his population on that?
That's a good question. 800 or 900, was it? No? 1,200? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
It's a bit like my child's birthday. It's impossible to remember.
That's going to be an underlying theme of the episode, I feel. By the way, it's the 5th of December is our anniversary. Our first episode.
We have an anniversary?
Yeah, the 5th of
900
December.
Is his pop. Yeah, so look, if we're using that as a measuring stick.
And his base card is only, a PSA 10's got a pop of 6,400.
Wow.
Don't know what that has to do with the price of sugar, but... Yeah, pop 901. Yeah, interesting.
All right, no, serious question. So should you be buying Luka silvers at the moment?
I don't think so. And look, jokes aside, my narrative and the reason I don't want to invest in Luka is because people have already paid for the hype tax on it. Like it's not like if he gets it, do you know what I mean? They're paying, it's like the expectation, say Tatum does, they go back to back, Tatum wins an MVP, and then he goes from 700 to 1,200. Like, I think him and Luka are neck and neck, but everyone's already paid the tax on Luka. So there's no value there. Now, I could be wrong. Luka could dominate the league, win 5 championships in a row, bunch of MVPs, and that 1,200 might be laughable. It might be a $5,000 card. But I'm relatively confident that the future pricing has already been paid with the hype. I feel like Zion not living up to expectations, had he not got injured, is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. So I think for me, I'm betting on pedigree, and when I watch this guy play, like he just ticks all the boxes. I've got no real like genuine concerns about him. He's
Sure.
only 25 years old,
Yeah.
and it feels like he's been in the league for 10 years. Like, do you know what I mean? In my head, I feel like I've been watching this kid, play for a long time. This is his numbers from this year: 29 points a game, 1.6 steals, 10 assists, 7.8 rebounds. Let's just call it 8, and nearly 4 3-pointers a game at 37% clip. Like that's, out of this world numbers. So my answer to this is he is a buy, but you need to be selective. So where I'm going with this is, in my own PC, I bought the Ruby Wave, and my rationale for buying the Ruby Wave was I think buying Luka's is a good play, and particularly when he took a dive 12 months, 18 months ago, he was like quite down a bit. The population on that is just 346. And I do think at some point the population is important, and it's all it's all ratioed. So for example, if I had infinite coin, I'd be looking at cards like this: the choice red to 88. The population on that is just 23 PSA 10, and that lasts sold for 3,500.
I obviously go for the color match, so I'm going for the blues.
Relatively, like if you got a silver that's selling at 1,200, there's 2,000 of them. You only need an extra. But okay, you know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly.
You only need another $2,000, and then the population is like 1/100th of what it is.
All right.
So I think that's sort of where my head is going with all this. I feel like you almost just need to put your hand just a little bit deeper into your pocket and just sort of like pull something else out. Because if you look at these graphs, particularly on the all time, a lot of this stuff is like really down.
What about, all right. What are your thoughts on fast break here?
Look, I'm not massive onto fast break. I think there's a lot of value in fast break because it's under collected.
Yeah.
And so I would put that into the bucket of do not buy it if you don't like it.
Okay, so the reason I ask, I've just brought up the blue to 199. Last sold price is $10,000, and it's not in the last 3 months. In fact, it's not. When was it? It was July this year.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So July 2024 sold for $10,800.
I know where you're going with this. Yep.
Fast break blue.
Yeah.
To 175 has a pop of 70.
Yeah.
Last sold for $3,900.
Yep. I think that's the type of thing where you would do really well out of it.
The fast break blue is the one that I would, if I were to buy a Luka, buy that one.
Yep.
Because I think this is, if the ship does sink, it's not going down like it's not a straight line down.
No.
Like it's a soft landing. There'd be time for the women and children to get off. It'd be like the Titanic.
Absolutely.
Jack won't survive. Spoiler alert. But yeah, like it's not. I just think in this overproduction of cards, we need to be sensible and not sort of buy into the hype so much. And look, the Silver Prism is it's amazing that it's held that level. Are we experiencing something similar with Giannis's decline at the moment? Do you know, like?
Oh, I don't know about that.
What's happening to Giannis as an individual versus Giannis's team is concerning.
I think that's something we should talk. We should actually look into that properly and do a segment on it. Adam.
Yeah. Here is the way that you can get in touch with Russell and myself and be a bigger part of the show. Now, if you follow the link tree to our Facebook group, that is where Russell and I put our mailbags up, our card versus card, our player versus player, our buy, hold, sell questions. All of those will go up on socials, on IG as well, using the handle @YouCan'tCompThis. Now, if you do have a more tailored question, feel free to PM us on Instagram. You can reach out in our Facebook group, and we'll be happy to respond and see if it's something that we can add to the show. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate the support, and love creating this content for our loyal listeners. If you haven't done so already, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. So hopefully we see you when we go live. Thanks for watching.